So another 3 a.m. banger. Alright, so my first video was started at, what was it? I think it's like probably the exact same time that I'm starting this right now. And my second video I made at like 3 p.m. the afternoon. And here we are again at 3 o'clock in the morning because I can't go to sleep, so I'm making this video. This is the day after I made my previous video, so I'm gonna try not to repeat myself, because of course if I like wait an actual week before making another one of these videos, then I can almost guarantee that I don't say the exact same thing again. But if I make them back to back, then I haven't learned anything, since making that video, really. I've learned a few things actually, but not enough to maybe not enough to make a new video. But we are going to be talking about something that is somewhat different. Towards the end, it's probably going to be similar to my previous video. I'm going to talk about feminism. The lie of feminism. Well, sadly, there are a lot of lies in feminism. And the first one is the gender wage gap. Yeah, that's a lie. Who would have thought? Well, it's really been talked about a lot online. So but the fundamental problem that feminism has with the world is the fact that men and women are just different. Like, we're different. You've got to accept the fact that that's true, because it is. It's really true. And you also have to accept the fact that that's not like the most awful thing in the world, that men and women are different and we're always going to be. Like, society is never going to be the same. We're never going to have, like, never, no matter what we do, no matter what society, no matter what conditioning. I mean, we can get really close, but we're never going to get to exactly 50-50, right? We can get to like 45-55. We can certainly get there. I don't know if we can get there in every single aspect. I don't know if we should get there in every aspect, because we definitely shouldn't. But I honestly don't think that that is equality. Like, because there are certain job positions that are female dominated, as in there's like 20-1 women to men. And then there is other areas like engineering, where it's the opposite, and there's 20 men for every one woman. And that's like that's not the most terrible thing in the world. It's actually evidence that we are different, and evidence that that difference matters. And so why are women making less money than men? It's because they choose lower paying jobs. I mean, have you taken a look at the latest billionaires? What do you like? Name some billionaires, right? Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, maybe you could name the top 10. And what gender are the top 10? Men. They're all men. I haven't looked at the top 10, but maybe there's a few women on there. I doubt that there's more than one. And that's not to say anything negative of women at all. It's just to say that men and women are different, and that we've got to learn to accept that and utilize it to better our society. Because there's a lot of things that men can do that women can't do, at least that they can't do as easily. And there's a lot of things actually that women can do that men can't do, or they can't do nearly as effectively. And so we should utilize that to better the world around us, instead of complain about it to nobody, because no one's coming to fix it. That's just how it's going to be. And so the whole thing is shielded behind this false statement that feminists want equality. And it's almost like the same thing as people saying they want happiness. It's like, no, you don't actually want happiness. You just want to stop feeling bad. And with feminism, it's like, no, you don't want to be equal. You want to be the same. That's the problem. Because men and women are never going to be the same. And that's fine, because they're not supposed to be the same. We read the Genesis account, and we see the formation of woman in chapter 2. And in the King James Version Bible, Eve, before she's named after the fall, but before the fall, she's just called woman. She's described as a helpmeet. Now, you can go back to the original reason that she was created, and it's because Adam wasn't enough. Adam wasn't enough to take care of the world, so God made Eve, because it's not good that man was alone. Adam couldn't do everything on his own, and men can't do everything on their own. You know, there used to be this thing, what was it? Maybe it's still a thing. Back whenever I used to watch TikTok, I would see this actually quite often. So this was 2021, 22, where like different gender groups would debate about it, how they would survive without the other gender. And it's like, not very long, actually, would either of them. Not least because they can't reproduce, but also because society would stop functioning. Right? Like, imagine, so there's only men on Earth now, which is like terrible, but there's only men. Firstly, let's just mention the fact that being gay is probably going to be at an all-time high. So there's that. But also, like, we're going to have a bunch of men as, kindergarten teachers and, like nursery people. It's like a bunch of men are going to be taking care of infants. And I mean, I guess you could put the more feminine ones would go into that, right? But what on earth would happen to the female-dominated jobs? So that couldn't go well, right? And then we have the opposite of that. If only women were on Earth, would I say that women are more socially, I don't want to say needy. We're all socially needy, right? and in the sense that if we are alone for too long, we go so insane that we imagine the fact that we're talking to people, right? So very social creatures. I don't know if women are more, social than men. I'd assume so, but I don't actually know the statistics on that. Um, but yeah, okay, so women are actually 50% weaker than men, and they're yeah, well, I think women would have less weight than men. Yeah, probably. Um, and so, what the heck would we do about things that require lots of strength, like construction, just carrying stuff around, doing stuff, engineers, all that stuff. So either way, it's not good for society at all if there were only women left and only men left. So yeah, but you've also got to ask yourself, and because of that, do you actually want to be the same? And the answer is no. You don't want men and women to be the same. Well, I don't know if feminists want men and women to be the same or if they just want them to pretend to be the same. I think feminists have acknowledged the fact that men and women are different. I think they know that, at least like deep down, but they still want us to be the same. And so it seems like that's the only option. The only option is to pretend like we're the same. And that's not such a good idea because it's not true. So why lie to ourselves? Well, we shouldn't. But that's the feminist lie. The feminist lie is that we can be the same, and it's not true at all. What are those fundamental differences between men and women, and how can we implement that into society? Well, as we just discussed, men are stronger than women physically. Men have 50% more muscle mass. Interesting thing that I learned is that men actually have larger throats, which means that in a sport like swimming, where you need to have good breathing, that actually like really helps. Um, and then women have a 50% stronger immune system than men do. That's part of the reason why women live longer than men. And what else? Obviously, women are way better at taking care of children than men are. There's no doubt about that. They're more compassionate towards children. Traditionally, women are, you could say, supposed to, or are, the ones who are focused on who the child is, and that men are primarily focused, not fully, but primarily focused on who the child can become. And that's good. You need both, actually. So, my point here is that men and women are different, and not only is that not bad, but it's actually good. So that's the point. Okay. what else is out there about feminism? There's a lot. There's a lot of junk. Well, you know, it's layered behind compassion, which is this, it's the same with Eve's sin, actually, layered behind compassion. It's like, oh, we just want everybody to be equal and happy. And actually, both of those aren't true. That's the whole statement's just not true. You don't want us to be equal. You want us to be the same. And you don't want us to be happy. You want us to have less negative emotion. And it's not even clear that less negative emotion is actually a good thing at all. Women actually experience more negative emotion than men do, which why is that? Well, it certainly helps. You might be like, well, how the heck does feeling worse, feeling more negative emotion, how does that help with anything? Well, actually, whenever you're really happy, you usually make pretty stupid choices. So when you are sad, let's say, you make better choices. And women need to make better choices about their sexual partners, which is why actually the negative emotion increases after puberty for women. So, like children under 10, men and women, they don't experience really that much difference in emotional stability or whatever. But once it gets to puberty, women experience way more negative emotion. And that's actually good because they make better choices. So you've got to be willing to sacrifice being happier or just feeling better, I guess you could say, versus making the right choice or the wrong choice. I have a suspicion that the start of feminism was not started, was not only not started by women, but it was not started with good intentions for women. Just like the Black Lives Matter movement was not started to assist black people in their sojourning. I actually don't know what that word means. And their existence on Earth is what I meant by that. I think sojourning is like going to a foreign land or something. So I don't want to make it sound like it's not what I said it is. But so we can talk about that movement, but I'm not going to. Not right now, at least. So, feminism. Am I a feminist? No, not how it's currently portrayed. And neither is anybody else that's half reasonable. Do I support equal rights? Yes. Am I a feminist? No. And that should tell you something. What it tells you is that feminism does not mean you want equal rights. And so I should probably explain what equal is. So I'm going to. Move my mic over. Okay. So you have 5 plus 5 equals 5 plus 5. And so you say, oh, well, these are equal. It's yes, but they're also the same. Okay? But you could have 10 equals 3 plus 7. And so these are equal. And that's true. But they're different. And you could even have it more of the case for humans. It's more like 6 plus 4 is equal to 7 plus 3. 3. My Canva is freaking out right now. Okay, 3. Like, what the heck is that? 3. Okay, there we go. Oh. Alright, there we go. Equal, not the same. And so there's a difference between the two. There's a big difference between the two. And that's the difference. So yeah, men and women can certainly be equal, sure. They're actually really close to being equal. The same, no. Or at least they shouldn't be the same. Shouldn't be. So, another lie about feminism is this whole idea of female empowerment. This idea that not only are men and women the same, but actually women are better than men at everything. Oh, it's so goofy. It's like, really? You think that men and women are the same? Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to spend the next 3 years training martial arts, and then I want you to go in a cage against a guy that's been training the exact same amount as you, and go see what you do. Actually, I don't recommend that happens. You should not let that happen ever. But you get my point, and there's a reason why I don't want that to actually happen. So, there's a reason that men can't hit women. There's a reason for that. So, women aren't better than men at everything, and men aren't better than women at everything, obviously. There are some things that men are way better than women at, and there are some things that women are way better than men at. And so get rid of this idea of female empowerment. Like, get rid of this idea of black people empowerment. Get rid of this idea of Spanish people empowerment. How about humanity empowerment? If you even want to call it, I don't know why it's called empowerment. What do you mean power? Like, how about not power? I don't even know what you would say, but it shouldn't be power, and it shouldn't be gender or race specific. It should be humanity specific. I'm gonna make a whole nother video on the Black Lives Matter movement and how it's just as much of a scam as this feminist one is. But female empowerment. Pride in general it's not the right move. Certainly not the right move. And the reason being, why on earth do they use the word pride and are proud of using the word pride? Like, I don't understand it. It's like, here's an interesting. Think of a movement more satanic than feminism. Maybe not. I mean, like radical feminism. You know what feminism I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the people that say I want equal rights. I'm talking about the feminist, right? And particularly the LGBTQIAGYXZMW plus minus multiply divide movement. we're just gonna keep adding it, and it's gonna be like a paragraph at one point, right? I don't even know. I'm actually gonna look this up. What does LGBTQIA plus stand for? Oh, it's only one plus. Okay. It's only one plus. Okay, cool. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning, intersex, asexual, and the plus symbolizes all other identities not explicitly covered by the preceding letters. Okay, so they already have everything. These are just the important ones. These are the ones that you gotta have letters for. And this is just like, they're just like, oh yeah, and everything else that we made up, that goes there. It's queer. I don't know what this is. An umbrella term for those who do not identify as heterosexual or cisgen. Alright, we're learning stuff today. What the heck is this? Someone whose gender identity aligns with the sex they are assigned at birth. So normal? Okay. Questioning, you could say, in the LGBTQIA. Yeah, the Q, there we go. Refers to individuals who are in the process of exploring and determining their sexual orientation, gender identity, bro. Okay. A term used to describe people born with sex characteristics that don't fit the typical definition of male or female. Okay. And then sexual interest is characterized by a lack of sexual attraction to others. It's probably just low testosterone. Well, you can imagine that the people that are asexual are not men. Probably not, right? But I don't know. I figured that they would just keep adding letters, but apparently the plus is all the other letters, right? So. To me, I don't know how on earth we got here. How did we get here? How did we get here? It's crazy. It's absolutely insane that we managed to get to a place where we are pridefully proud. I mean, it really is like we just learned absolutely nothing from history. Just not a thing. Well, that's not true. Collectively, we have learned a lot. Like in America, everybody accepts the fact that slavery is wrong. Okay, good. But there's a lot that we have not learned from, and it's right in front of our face, and most of us are just not willing to accept it at all. And one of those things is that being proud in any way at all is not good. It's a bad thing. And it's especially bad when you're proud about your sexual preference. Like really, you're proud about your sexual preference. No one cares. No one cares. Number one. Number two is that you shouldn't be proud for anything. You shouldn't be proud for that. And pride is before the fall. And fall has LGBTQ done. I don't mean fall as in lose popularity. I mean fall as in, like, morally speaking. Like, adult men twerking in front of children, fall. That's a fall. That's a descent into hell itself. And it's the path that has been taken and is still being taken by LGBTQ people. You know, I question how we got here. I was walking in the school hallway one day. I was walking behind a girl. And I'm not the type of guy to sit there and, stare at a girl like, looking at her. I was just walking in the hallway. And it was after we did at our school what's called a prep rally. I don't know if y'all's prep rallies are called the same. You probably still have some. I'd imagine that your school has one. It's basically at some point during the day, there's like a celebration type thing, or well, I guess it's not a celebration, is it? It's more of a like motivation, to hype everybody up for like the football or basketball game or whatever, right? And so we had one of those, and so I was walking behind one of like I think she was one of the flag people, you know what I mean? They like take the flag and they wave it around and they make cool little things with it. She was one of those people, and the clothes that they make these people wear, these women wear, honestly disgust me. Disgust me. It's almost that the clothing itself is a sin. And it gets worse. She was like 15, 16, so already a child wearing that. But they make like 6-year-olds wear this disgusting clothing. And I just think to myself, I would never, as a father of a daughter, never under any circumstances would I ever allow my 6-year-old, 9-year-old, 17-year-old, 20-year-old daughter to wear this. Of course, once she's older, if she wants to wear that, then she can. I'm not going to okay that and accept it. I'm going to tell her that what she's wearing is absolutely disgustingly wrong. But as a more than a child, like you have a child and the child's like 14 through, 17. This is like children, like 6, 7, 8 years old. And they're just wearing the most disgusting clothing ever. And this is feminism. This is female empowerment. Female empowerment is making kids wear they're not even shorts anymore. They're not even shorts anymore. And it's like not only is this allowed, but it's promoted. It's promoted. Endorsed. And shame on you if you don't. That's the part where it's like you've crossed the line miles ago. What's the line? I don't know. The line was crossed 200 bloody years ago. Do not conform to the desires of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that you may attest to God's perfect, kind, loving will, His good will. Those who conform to this world are of this world, and thus they will die from and with this world. Those who are not of this world will not perish with this world, but have everlasting life. Do not be of this world. I guess the next logical thing to talk about is OnlyFans and cornography. Everyone's calling it corn now. So. It's completely destroying our lives. And it's not just men. It's women too. Because if you make the life of one gender worse, you make the life of the other gender worse. Especially whenever you make the lives of men worse. I don't mean worse as in harder, I mean worse as in easier. Because truth be told, you make a man's life easy, and you make everybody else's harder. And what's easier than grabbing your phone? Where's my phone? I don't know. Well, hey, oh, there it is. That's okay. It's on the. I was gonna say that it's a good thing that I don't know where my phone is, because I don't want to use it. But what's easier than grabbing your phone and just typing in a few letters on your little pad thing, whatever you want to call it, little digital keyboard? What's easier than that? It's literally, you don't have to do anything. And like, obviously that's destructive to our society. Obviously. Why wouldn't it? All right. There we go. I hope there's a way that I can just make this camera stay in one place. It's got like AI in it or something. It's so weird. Yeah, whatever. Porn is destroying our lives. It already has. And if you don't think it's going to get any worse, you are sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. It's going to get so much worse. AI's not helping with that. Because, you know, there's celebrities, and a lot of female celebrities post enough stuff themselves to where we don't need AI. Most people probably don't need AI. But for the 0.00001% of female celebrities that don't show their butt on social media, people can just use AI, and a female celebrity is all of a sudden talking to them. If you don't think that's going to make our lives worse, what the heck is that going to do? It's going to make everything worse. So much worse. And I'm not judging these people, the celebrities or the men who consume this content. All I'm saying is that it's destroying your lives. And it needs to stop. And someone's got to stand up and say this is wrong. And if that's me, then it's me. If it's you, then it's you. And if it's someone else, then it's them. But someone's got to stand up and say, this is not what we should be doing. Not even close. Sex is becoming more and more of a fun activity between whoever, and less of a sacred means of procreation reserved for only a man and a woman in marriage. And as we get closer to that, we get closer to a Tower of Babel. What's a Tower of Babel? Well, for some reason it happens whenever sex stops being sacred. Which happens whenever the wrong gods are placed at the highest possible order. The wrong gods are everything except Jesus, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, God. Things like this have happened before. They've never ended well. Ever. For anybody. That's the thing about totalitarian societies, is that nothing goes well for anyone. Not even the tyrant. Not even the totalitarian. People know this. You know, I've been thinking over the past few months, maybe even the past year, because my face does still used to get very red whenever I talk to anybody, and now it really only gets red whenever I'm talking to a girl. And I thought, why is that? Why is that? And maybe there's a few reasons. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm not a very social person. That could be one. But I thought maybe it's because I recognize the fact that this is a woman and I can sleep with this woman. Like, it's like a possibility, right? And so maybe that's why. I still don't fully understand it, but I think it's the fact that everybody recognizes, consciously or subconsciously, the fact that sex isn't just a thing. It's like more. There's more to it than just like fun. Let's have fun. It's like, that's not exactly only what this is, actually. It's not just fun. It's a gift from God, and whenever it's used improperly, all hell breaks loose. You know, when I was younger, I had a girlfriend. There were other people that, you know, liked me or whatever the heck that means. I'm glad I said no. Because I could have committed adultery at like 11, 12 years old. And that's not like me flexing. That was probably just luck. I don't know what the heck these women found in me that was attractive. Like there was even this girl in fifth grade, so 11 years old. Yeah, sounds about right. And she was like a pretty attractive person, yeah. And I think like now she's on like the sports and stuff, and so she's like a popular person and all that. I'm actually glad that I didn't date her or talk to her or whatever the heck you want to call a fifth grade relationship, right? Like, what even is a fifth grade relationship? Who the heck knows? Well, actually, fifth grade's more, yeah. Okay, fifth grade's actually, yeah. It's no longer third grade, but it's not like high school, you know? It's not even junior high. Um, but I'm really glad that I didn't. And you might be watching this as a man, and you're like, oh yeah, you lost a good one, or you fumbled the bag or whatever. I think my life would be worse. I don't know if I'd be here. So it's not worth it. By the time you're watching this, there's probably a video on my main channel, and it's titled something along the lines of why you shouldn't get a girlfriend or a boyfriend. But that would make the title would be too long, right? And I suppose I'm aiming at men with some of my content and with some of my words. But women have their own versions of the problem. The problem with men is that a lot of us, the second we get an opportunity, we take it. And we don't think about it, and we just think, oh, this woman wants to sleep with me, so I'm all in. And no one's telling them that this is wrong, and if they are telling them that it's wrong, they can't answer you whenever you ask them why it's wrong. People are suffering from a lack of fatherhood, men and women alike. They're suffering from a lack of motherhood, men and women alike. They're suffering a lack of parenthood. Why? We've abandoned responsibility. We've abandoned tradition. We've abandoned Christian morals and principles. We've abandoned the truth. And if the truth sets you free, then a lie makes you a slave. That's right. Don't become a slave. Don't listen to the modern feminist agenda telling you that it's okay for you to sleep with a bunch of men. I'm talking to women. It's that it's okay for you to sleep with a bunch of men, and a 5 body count isn't even that high, and you should explore your options. You know, I'm not a woman, obviously. I hope that's obvious, right? I'm not a woman. I'll never be a woman. But I can say certainly that whatever excuse they give you as to why you should sleep around with a bunch of men, don't listen. Have high standards, men and women. Have high standards. And you know, preferably those standards are masculine Christian man. The good shepherd. Not some weak guy that, like, I don't know, rambles on about his problems to you. It should be the other way around. It's supposed to be the woman tells the man about all her problems, and the man deals with his problems and hers. It's supposed to be it. Well, you know, it's not like women don't help men at all. They do. A lot, actually. But men are supposed to suffer more so women can suffer less. That's how things are supposed to happen. But right now, men are suffering so much that they don't want to suffer anymore. Not only do they not want to suffer anymore, but they want to cast their problems upon others. Not necessarily to make them suffer, but to make themselves suffer less. So, 1 Peter 5:10. No. Maybe, yeah, something like that. 1 Peter chapter 5, uh, verse 5 through 10, somewhere in there. Cast your anxieties onto God. Don't listen to the world. Women, men, anyone. It's really good at deceiving you into thinking whatever the heck it wants you to think. It can do it. Don't listen. Obey God. Follow His commands. Be saved. Live a life according to the calling to which you have been called. Live a life worthy of the calling to which you've been called. And you've been called to speak out against this complete and utter nonsense. 1 hour mark. Well, I thought that I would already go to my next point by now, but I haven't. I've honestly forgotten what that next point was. What is it? It's the wage gap. And then pretty much the whole next section was about sexual things and how the sexual has been normalized and accepted as a fun activity. Woo, we're having so much fun. What's next? What's next? Where do I start? There are people that are young, naive, and hopeless. Because of that, they're vulnerable. So obviously, anything that they can get their hands on that gives them a glimpse of hope, they'll just cling on to that like it's their own mother. So you can imagine why women and men sleep around. Maybe they've got nothing else. So maybe pornography isn't the problem. Maybe sleeping around isn't the problem. Maybe women taking pictures of themselves inappropriately and putting it on social media isn't the problem. Maybe they're symptoms of the real problem. The real problem is that we've abandoned God. And that's a terrible mistake. A terrible mistake. Why is all this happening? Why are women being told that it's okay for them to sleep with 5 dudes before they turn 18? Why are women being told that once they turn 18, it's a good idea to start an OnlyFans to sell your soul to the devil? Why is this being allowed? Why is this being promoted? There's children, minors, 16, 17 years old, just waiting to turn 18 so they can start an OnlyFans because they think that that's what they're supposed to do with their life, with their body. And I'm not judging them. I'm not angry at them. It's just like, how did we get here? And it's a downward spiral. And we're far down. Far, far down. And the spiral goes down infinitely. It can get infinitely worse. Infinitely worse. So, step 1 is to stop walking downward. Stop walking downward. At least stop walking downward. I'm I'm not asking you to walk up, although I am, actually, because you can't just sit down. You can't stand still. You have to go up or down. Life's hard. It's difficult. It always has been, ever since the fall. It always will be. I'm not saying that stopping our downward walk and carrying our crosses uphill is anything short of painfully terrible. I acknowledge that. I'm not here to give you happiness advice. I'm not here to be a motivational speaker. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to tell you that you're doing something wrong and you need to stop. And you can call that mean, you can call that judgmental. Go ahead. But it's the truth, and you know it. So stop denying it. Deny me in front of your friends, and I will deny you in front of my Father. That's what Jesus tells us in the Gospels. Jesus says that if you deny him in front of others, he will deny you before his Father. So don't deny the truth. Don't deny Jesus. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. But the world did not know him, though by all things that are created were created by him. Creation did not know its creator. Creation did not know its maker. And right now, we don't know our maker. We don't know our creator. That's why we're here. That's how we've come so far from the truth. We forgot our maker. And it's a terrible sin. Worship the Lord your God and him alone. Do not make for yourselves false idols or any carved image. You shall not say the Lord's name in vain. We've done it all. We've done it all. That's why we're here. This camera keeps following me. I should really stretch before I make these videos. Whoa. This camera's freaking out. Alright, it's 4:07 a.m. Man, I used to wake up normally at 4 o'clock. Yeah, whenever I started my YouTube channel, like my early videos, my first video, Enjoy the Process, I recorded that at like 4:10 a.m. It's crazy, man. I wake up at like 5:30 now. Sleep deprived, bro. I was so sleep deprived whenever I woke up at 4 a.m. It was crazy. Well, that's how we got here. Endless sin and zero repentance. I don't want you to fall for that trap. It's terrible. Awful. Such is the way of the world. What do we do about this? That's the right question. What do we do? Well, we are supposed to remember our Creator, Jesus Christ. We are supposed to remember, thou shalt not commit adultery. And you have heard that it was said, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say to you that anyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has committed adultery with her in his heart. Now, women can have lust too. And that's still a sin. That's still bad. My people get destroyed because of a lack of knowledge, says God, says the Bible. I don't know where. I think it's Isaiah. It's terrible, you know. We've got to aim upward, shoulder our cross, deny ourselves, repent from our sins, place God in the highest possible order, live according to His will, voluntarily confront Satan himself, adopt as much responsibility as we can take on, and fight back against the forces of evil. That's how we go forward and not backward. That's the right path. Now, it is the long, narrow, hard path, and at the end is the small, narrow gate, and there are few who find it. Yes, if you move 1 degree in the wrong direction, by the time you would have made it to the gate, you're miles off. But you want that challenge. Otherwise, life isn't fun. That challenge is more fun than sleeping around. They lied. They told me and you that if we put our faith in the world, that if we put our faith in them, that we would be happy. That we would live a fulfilling life. They lied. Terribly so. Brutally so. To our face. There's nothing fun about disobeying God. Not in the long term. In the short term, sure. Sure. Absolutely. In the long term, give it a few years. The punishment for sin is death. Sometimes it seems that it's worse than death. Well, that's hell, isn't it? People think that you're dying here on the earth is the worst thing that can ever happen to you. They haven't experienced hell. People who have died, gone to hell, and been revived and have come back and told their story, they say that if you saw it, if the world saw it, if they saw hell, if they experienced a second of it, nobody would ever go. Nobody would not be religious. They'd be searching for a way to go to heaven. We'd have a heck of a lot less atheists. It's like the saying, there's no atheist in a foxhole. There's no atheist after you experience a second of actual hell. Not least because people would just do anything to not go. And the reason they aren't right now is because they have no idea what it's like. These people, these popular singers that women look up to, these feminists, making songs about partying in hell. These songs about twerking on the devil. Hell isn't going to be a party. Let's put it that way. Satan himself won't be celebrating. He'll be cast in there also. The main message in this video: seek first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. What does that mean in the context of feminism? Stop obeying the world. Obey God. No matter what. That come hell or high waters, you remain faithful. Feminism is a brutal lie. It's convinced women that their body used in a degenerative way is the best possible path forward. And that's wrong. Very wrong. It's one of the best possible paths to hell. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Let's go back to the issue with men and pornography. And women. I heard a thing that men prefer the videos, pornography videos, and women like to read comic book stuff. That's what I learned recently. And so, for women, the problem probably isn't porn. I really couldn't imagine a woman watching porn. To me, that kind of seems weird. I mean, I'm sure they're out there. But What's the issue with pornography? What's so bad about it? Well, firstly, you have the fact of action and reward. So, whenever you watch porn, you are rewarding yourself for being lazy. At least when you commit adultery with a woman, you had to earn her. You had to work hard to get her. When you watch porn, you don't have to work for her. And so you've just okayed yourself to being lazy. So that's one of the problems. And the consequence of that is, why would you go and put in the work in the gym and any other area in your life and God and going to church and learning and trying to be a better man? Why would you put any work into that when you can just type a few words in on your phone and you've got like your exact type of girl, the girl that you would want exactly, just right in front of you in a minute. It's terrible. What are the other consequences? I heard this thing about gray matter in your brain. It's like what allows you to be connected, hand-eye coordination, so athletic ability is prohibited by pornography. And I don't exactly know why. Like, is it just pornography, or is it like lust in general? What exactly is it? But we do know that at least porn causes loss of or destruction of gray matter in the brain. And so that's not good. You don't want a cognitive decline at a young age. That's not good. Another thing, you might not realize it now if you're still someone who consistently watches pornography, but if you get onto the no pornography thing for at least a few months, you start to realize how weird it is. Like, you look back on your younger self, and you're like, I was a freaking weirdo. Like, imagine you go to some person's house, and you're like, they've got their bedroom window open, and they're in there doing their thing, and you're just like watching them. It's so weird. You look back and you're like, what the heck? What was I doing? So it's just weird, you know? Like, I can understand the thing that women do where they look at like a comic book thing. That's more understandable because it's more of like you're reading a love story. You're not just watching someone do their thing with their partner like a weirdo. It's still weird. It's still bad to do that, to watch the, uh, like cartoon comic book thing. But it's probably better for you. So. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations. What does that mean in this context? Tell people the truth, or at least don't lie. Tell people what you're doing is wrong. And you've got to stop. Who cares if people get offended at you telling the truth? Because being offended is better than being dead in hell, suffering. It's a heck of a lot worse. A heck of a lot worse. What else can we do about it? The first thing, and the obvious thing, is to stop doing it yourself. Now, the way you go about this is you do less, not none. If you know yourself to be willfully strong enough to just instantly quit, then obviously do. Obviously quit as fast as possible. But most people aren't going to be able to instantly come to a halt. And so how do you go about quitting? You do less. You do what's called progressive unload. So in the gym, you have your bench press. It'd be here, but you got your bench press. And as the weeks go on, maybe you add like 5 pounds a week or something like that. A few extra pounds a week. So you're adding more and more and more and more and more. And eventually you go from benching, 10 pounds on the bar to 3 plates. Okay. That's the gym. So with good habits, that's what you want to do. You want to progressively overload. Do more and more and more and more and more and more. It's usually not a good idea to go from 0 to everything. So, with the bad habits, you want to progressive unload, right? So with pornography, some people are benching more than others. Some people can lift more weight, and they are. Some people are only benching a plate. Now, a plate's still a lot, especially whenever it comes to corn. So what you want to do is you want to take your 3 plates, your 2 plates, and you want to slowly take weight off. So let's say you're watching corn 3 times a day. I mean, it's still crazy to me that that's actually like a thing. Like that's actually a thing. People actually watch it like 3, 4, 5 times a day. To me, that's crazy. I never would have thought that that is something that people actually do. But that would be like 4 plates, right? 4 plates is like 4 times a day. So, if it's 3, 4 times a day, then your goal is 1 to 2 times a day. Really, like if you can go from 3 times a day to 1 time a day, that's actually massive. That's actually really massive. Because yeah, I mean, you just eliminated 67% of your pornography intake. So obviously that's good. And then you go from every day to every other day to 3 times a week to 2 times a week to 1 time a week to 1 time every 2 weeks, 1 time every 3 weeks, 1 time every month, once every 2 months, once every 3 months, once every 4 months, once every year, never again. You've got to take that slow path. You've got to set out for yourself goals. So, the next month, I want to only watch it once a day. The month after that, I want to watch it every 3 days. Or every other day. And then every 3 days, every 4 days, every 5 days, every 6 days, every 7 days. So every week, every 2 weeks. And then in like a year, you might go from 3 times a day to once every 2 weeks in a year. And that's really good. That's really good progress. 3 times a day, that's 21 times a week. That's 42 times every 2 weeks. So you just decreased your pornography intake by 4,200%. That's massive progress. And if you can do that in a year, then the next year you'll be off. Probably, right? So that's good. That's really good. It's small steps forward. All right. I almost made it to the end of the video before I had to go use the restroom. So I will be back in like 2 minutes. Hello, camera. Always saying hello to me. Come back down, please. Down here. There we go. Alright, we've got 19 minutes left of the video. So, what the heck am I gonna extend out for the next 19 minutes? Let's go back to the wage gap and the DEI thing. What is DEI? Direct, inclusive, or definitely what is DEI? DEI. I guess I can look it up. What does DEI stand for? It is, diversity, equity, inclusion. There we go. Inclusion. We've got to include everybody. The problem is that you have 72 genders. So, it's strange too, because people say that jobs should be half black people and like half white people, or it should be like perfectly even, right? So 11.1% white, 11.1% black, 11.1% Hispanic, 11.1% Chinese, 11.1%, I don't know, Afghanistan, whatever, right? The problem is that that's impossible unless you have the exact same amount of people in every race group. How are you going to make sure that happens? So, no. Black people are 11.1 to 13% of our population, and so they should be 11.1 to 13% of the population in jobs. And maybe not, right? Because black people are inspired by other black artists to be rappers, by other athletes to be athletes, to play basketball, football, all that stuff. I'm not saying that like white people don't play sports. I'm just saying that it is told to black people that, you should go play sports more than it is white people. But do what you've been called to do, not what the world calls you to do. We're focusing on the wrong problems, if you even want to call them problems. We're focusing on the wrong thing. The wrong thing is diverse, equity, inclusion. That's the wrong thing. We don't need more white people in the NBA. We don't need more black people in baseball. We don't need more white rappers. We don't need more male nurses or doctors. I think doctors are probably not all women, but nurses definitely, right? Actually, I do think that most doctors are women. I can actually look that up. Okay. What percentage of doctors are female. Oh, 37%. Wow. Okay. And then we can go doctors, and we can go nurses. Nurses is 86 to 88%. That makes more sense. Okay. That's what I thought, actually. So, we're different, and that's fine. You know what's funny is, and this shows you that it's not actually equality. It's just the fact that women are having less than they could. And it's the fact that whenever you have things like the NBA, where most people are black, and you have things like nurses, where most people are women, there's nothing. There's nothing about it. Complete silence on the other end from these people that are screaming equality, equality. They don't care about equality. They want women to have more. And that's different. And you can go too far. Nobody is trying to hire more male nurses. Why? There's no reason to. And it's hidden behind this lie of suppression or oppression. I don't really know the difference between those two, but oppression. That women are oppressed and that they have been oppressed for all of human society. And it's like, right, yeah. Women were oppressed for all of society, and they felt so terrible about it that it took them 13, well, how long have humans been alive according to science? I don't believe this, but according to science, humans have been around for 300,000 years. So it took women 300,000 years to finally go against their oppression. Right, yeah. That's the argument you're making. 300,000 years, really. Now, as a Bible-believing person, we think that the earth... I say we think, I don't really think, but the universe probably isn't 13.8 billion years old. It might be. I mean, it'd be complicated to explain how that is with the biblical stories, with the genealogies and all that. But feminism wasn't started by women. And no, it didn't take them 6,000, 10,000, 25,000 years to finally say something about it. Don't listen to them. Please don't listen to them. I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes talking about the society that we should be living in. I've talked for an hour and 50 minutes on the society that we do live in and how that society is the wrong one. It's doing a lot wrong. Now I'm going to talk about what we could be doing right. The first thing is to follow after God, to obey His will, listen to His commands. It's the first because it's the most important. It's the step one. Step one is to at least return to our roots of Christianity, of being a Christian country. That's step one. Step two is to again make sex sacred. To tell our children, our males or females, look, you're going to become a teenager. You're going to see someone desirable. Maybe they even find you desirable. And you're going to want to sleep with them. But that is reserved for married people. So if you want to sleep with them, and if you think they're actually a good partner, then you guys can get married. And then you can sleep together. But we're not telling our kids that. What the school tells us is that sex is bad. And that's the other extreme. And it's wrong. It's not bad. It's not bad. And that's not what Christianity is about. Christianity is not saying that sex is bad. It's saying that it's bad when used in a bad way. It's bad whenever it's adultery between two unmarried people. Or between two people that were once married and got married to somebody else. Because that's a sin also. That's still adultery. Anyone who marries a divorced woman has committed adultery. That's Matthew 5:30 something. Maybe 20, verse 20, 30, something like that. The next is to again promote marriage and bearing children. We can't, but we should acknowledge the fact that going back to housewife, hardworking husband is the goal. Right, I have my YouTube channels, I have my online presence. I'm going to be making an online course soon. I'm going to be making enough money in the future. I know I will. I will be making enough money in the future. 10K, 20K, 30K a month, where I'm going to be able to provide for my wife, and she's not going to have to work. And that's not like oppression. Like, people hear the word housewife, and they think of like mean, abusive husband that like beats his wife up and like drinks beer all day, like abuses his children. And it's like, that's not even it at all. It's not even close. A housewives are the happiest women. And the happiest women are women that have 3 or more children. And those are going to be housewives, right? Of course. Mostly. So, if you're so worried about women happiness, why are you attacking being a housewife? Doesn't make sense, right? So housewives are the happiest women, and probably the happiest men are husbands of housewives. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, the thing with the housewife and her husband is that her husband's got to provide enough income to support both of them and, of course, their children. And so that's a hardworking man. That's a man that's desirable, actually. So, become that desirable man. Stop asking, how can I find the person that's right for me? And instead ask, how can I become the person that's right for someone else? That's a way better question. Way different. Totally different. Because one is blaming society, and the other is blaming yourself. And when you blame society, you get absolutely nowhere. When you blame yourself, take responsibility, and you begin making the proper sacrifices, you change everything. If you want to change the world, step 1 is to make your bed. Put your house in order before you judge the world. That's one of Peterson's 12 rules for life. Funny thing, according to Amazon, the last time I checked, I ordered Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life. It's coming in today. However, I'm at my grandparents' house, so I'm not going to be able to read it. The final message for this video. Feminism is the most anti-woman movement the world has ever seen. And it's anti-women because it's anti-men. And anything that's anti-men is anti-woman. Anything that's anti-woman is anti-men. Anything that's anti any people group is anti-humanity. Because we're all human. So if you're anti-human, you're anti-human. Obviously. So stop hating people, bro. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your minds. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the free gift of God, not of works, lest any man boast. And thou shalt not commit adultery. And you have heard that it was said by the people of long ago, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say to you, whoever looks at a woman with lustful intent has committed adultery with her in his heart. God doesn't just judge our actions. He judges our intentions. If you want to murder somebody, if you want to commit adultery with somebody, but you're tied to a wall or something and you can't, that doesn't make it morally okay, because you would had you have gotten the opportunity. And so people say, oh, I would never commit adultery with someone while I'm married. And it's like, is that because you won't or because you can't? Because there's a difference. God has called you to a life that's better than posting your butt on social media. He's called you to a life that's better than starting an OnlyFans. He's called you to a life that's better than doing Pornhub videos. Women. Men. God has called you to a life that's more, and a life that's not watching pornography. A life of romantic adventure in the proper way, and that is within the confines of marriage. Go therefore, making disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey everything that Jesus has commanded us. And surely the Lord God, Jesus Christ, will be with us till the ends of the earth.